Hello, I'm Steve Sykes, Vice President of Sales for Artcobell. Are you intrigued by what you just saw? Would you like to know more? A couple of years ago, the team at Artcobell set out to reinvent the student chair. Our next move is the result of that journey, the chair that will absolutely reinvent movement seating for educational spaces. Over the next few minutes, we're going to tell you more about that journey and the people who helped us along the way. Our first stop is with a world-class ergonomist, Dr. Mark Bendon of the Texas A&M School of Public Health, who explains why movement is critical to student success in the classroom.
What we found over the last few years in our laboratory here at Texas A&M is that those children that are able to move, fidget, get up, walk around, stand, take a break from too much sitting still, sitting down, not moving, they perform better. Now remember, they're performing better within their own abilities. So this doesn't really have to do with a peer-to-peer comparison. This is for that child, they personally can perform at a higher level in the classroom when they're allowed to move. So we have certainly asked children, we've asked for their opinion about whether they prefer more of a static environment or one in which they can occupy multiple different postures and positions and really keep those movements going. And the children resoundingly respond that they prefer the movement. They prefer to be active. But again, what our research has shown is when the children are permitted to, through the equipment and through the teacher's guidance, to move, they will get less disruptive, they will cause less problems in the classroom, and the students themselves will stay on task more. So an activity permissive learning environment means that the child has their own ability to adapt what's going on around them to their optimal, to their best, without disrupting the teacher and getting the teacher off of their task. When we think of how the body responds to movement and a situation where it has a lack of movement, the easiest word to keep in mind that helps us all sort of get this concept is oxygen. We need oxygenated blood flowing through our brain so we can learn. So when we sit poorly in poor products for long periods of time, the oxygen pools, we don't get the return circulation that we normally would. If we can come up with something that will give us movement for the individual child, give them, for instance, pressure relief on some of the places where our bodies make the most contact or support the most force or load, without disrupting our neighbor, then that's kind of that win-win.
So we had an idea, some inspiration to start with. Next, we turned to the experts at Q Design in Chicago to help us generate a design that was noticeably different. Let's hear from Design Director Rick Jutras and Senior Designer Tim Buchenberger as they share the Next Move design story.
It really started with a conversation. We began working with Rick Parker and the team down at Artcobell, talking about how we could possibly create some differentiation within the seating chair market. So one of the things that we wanted to focus in on was the idea of creating active posture, acknowledging that kids and students fidget throughout the day, and that being able to vary your position on a chair really allows you to be at that chair a little longer, stay focused, pay attention, that your body needs to be moving, whether it's in small amounts or large amounts, but moving throughout the day. And so I think our chair really is set apart because of its split design, right? The independent seat and independent back. I mean, there are really no other comparable chairs on the marketplace right now within this category, within this price range, that really provide the ergonomic and the active posture that we have.
The separation of the seat and the back allows for the seat and the back to move independently. The seat is able to not only have movement front to back and side to side, but it's everywhere in between. And then having the back be independent allows for that flex, but not only front to back, again, has a little bit of that flex side to side. So you're really looking at a 360-degree movement with this seating piece.
Being able to reorient yourself within the seat was an important part. You're able to sit sideways, forwards and backwards. That we worked hard to create relief points and cutouts and cutaways to allow an individual to sit sort of 360 degrees all the way around the chair, as well as allow that seat to move 360 degrees underneath that person. So it's a really versatile chair. It's very adaptable to different postures, as well as very comfortable because of its active posture.
School seating needs to pass through some rigorous testing and needs to be durable and stand up to a lot of different sizes and use. But we looked at it from not just an engineering standpoint, but how can we make this look aesthetically pleasing as well. So kind of that marriage between engineering and the strength that we need in the chair, but taking a step back and putting our design eye on it and making sure that it looks very well tailored.
Unlike most of the movement seating in the market, our new chair would need to function as an everyday individual student chair. It had to be different, unique, and affordable. Vice President of Operations Kevin Smith tells us how the concept came to life.
Our engineers were involved from the very beginning with the concept. We were in every meeting with Q Design, so with our engineering mindset and their design mindset, we were bouncing ideas off of each other the entire time. And then once we got it here in Temple, we had to take the concept and turn that into the reality of what the chair is going to look like once we launch. And to do that, we started with 3D printing models. We turned the computer model into 3D printed model parts, taking a look at what a full-size chair would look like. Right? From there, once we had what we needed there, we turned those into individual component parts, right, that we could create exact models of what the chair was going to look like, started to put in some of the functionality, the movement of the chair, and from there we just ended up doing iteration after iteration until we got what we were looking for. Artcobell has been designing and building furniture since the early 1960s. So when we take a peek at engineering a product, or we start taking the engineering aspect of designing a product, we always try to channel our inner child, and we want to make sure that when we design something that it is not only aimed at the audience, that it's supposed to meet their demands, but it's also aimed at making sure we understand how it's really going to be used once it gets there. We want this stuff to last forever if you want it to. Right, and because of the durability, the rigors that we send it through in our test lab here on site, we want our products to get to your place and do whatever it needs to do for as long as you want it to do it, and let you decide when to dispose of it. There isn't anything like this in the market. We tried to find a way of introducing something to the school furniture market that had never seen before. Right, so giving the children a little bit of movement and a little bit of flexibility to be themselves while they're in the learning environment. This chair does that.
We hope you're intrigued by the Next Move story. Let us know if you'd like to see Next Move in person by reaching out to us. We look forward to hearing from you.